Hey Vikas, welcome to our first series of Prax Convos. Wonderful to have you here. What have you guys been doing, in terms of managing supply chain operations, etc.? Have you guys been affected, especially in the pharma space? Have regulations, etc., let you continue business as usual? And how are you guys looking ahead for the coming next few weeks?
Fortunately, we've been on the spectrum of the business where we were a part of chaos, but in a good way. I think we've all been impacted by the unprecedented situation that has been presented to us, and everybody is learning and adjusting to this new normal. I think it will have far-reaching effects, and the depth of it is still being evaluated, and we are still in a phase where the real impact of it will only come to light when this is actually over. And more importantly, I think everybody is reacting now. Proactive approach would have been really impossible, but yes, organizations have done it in certain shape and form. But still, as a whole, as an industry, as an organization, I think a lot more elements are there in which we will have a response once we understand the intent at which it is hit. But for sure, we will be moving to new normal. We will be moving to a completely new shape form of the business fundamentals that we've been looking at. Now, talking specifically about the pharma segment or the healthcare technology space that we belong, being a part of essential service, the challenge and responsibility has been with us from day one. This lockdown situation came. We were fully geared and preparing for enabling the services to the end consumer and continuation of it in case of any such challenge that has been presented to us. So one, I think well before the time, we operationalized and moved everybody to work from home. So that was the one key aspect that we realized, that how to fundamentally start infrastructure availability to everyone to move to work from home. We did a quick pilot and then moved the team in phases. And well before the Janta curfew, we had 100% of the team working from the warehouse. Part two was making a Corona task force, which was a dedicated team to take swift and executive level decisions if needed, to make sure the operation and continuity of the business. So that was also formed well before its time, and they started developing protocols. So in terms of protocols, it went to the level that if an individual or a person in one of the facilities, if he's found positive, if there is incidents being reported, what should be the plan of action, which team need to respond and which all teams need to respond. So everything was documented, everything was planned, teams were aligned, SOPs were discussed, and then we started implementing them at fast pace. So in terms of operational readiness to continue the supply and operations, we were well within the time to get those operationalized. I think when the lockdown happened, the challenge we faced was a lot more on the on ground rather than other internal ones. So the communication was received in a very different, or the interpretation would have been slightly different in terms of managing uh, the discipline on the road, and that is where we formed a team internally, the people who were constantly in touch with the local authorities in getting whatever is required in terms of a e-pass, local pass, daily pass. So they were continuously in touch. So they gained their expertise pretty fast and were in touch with the local folks, frontline teams on the ground. The other thing we did was we quickly formed a group of few startups, around 25-30 of them, in the similar space, logistics, grocery, e-commerce in healthcare, and tried to address the problem by uniting forces and dividing the problem. So that was another thing that really helped, because if one person is able to solve problem, the learnings was quickly shared with others and then implemented to the ground. So those are some of the things where which helped us to continue the options. On the demand side, we've seen significant rise given essential services and limited avenues available for the consumer. Demand side, we've been really blessed, and then we ensured from our approach that the serviceability or addressing that demand was taken care. There are supply chain issues, interstate movements, and other challenges which are still there. We're solving one problem at a time and moving forward.
Tell me one more thing in terms of the whole consumer behavior, because what do you think are going to be some of the near-term behavioral changes, especially specific to healthcare in the near term and in the longer term? Are people going to buy more online? Are they going to take more consultations online? Getting tests done online, home pickup, etc. What what are some of those long-term versus near-term behavioral shifts do you expect to happen?
Everybody would have a very different, and there will be some baseline which will be common to all, and there will be something which will work differently for each. So if you look at healthcare, it can broadly be described into four broad areas. One is the pharma companies, the other is the hospital, HCP or the providers, the other is the health technology providers, and then the other is the regulatory. Now, all four would have a very different aspect to cover to address the unprecedented times that we've been thrown to. Now, to talk about and let's take an example so that we have more understanding. So, if you talk about a hospital or a doctor, for example, the basics on how you manage a clinic or a hospital, the amount of manpower you deploy, the other day-to-day function which are done on a register on a manual basis will completely shift to the use of technology. That is something kind of no option left, and more of efficiency that would prevail more. That's a common factor which will happen across the four areas that we divide. Now, specifically, if you talk about a HCP or a hospital, a more dependency on the technology, a more adoption of the technology will happen. Now, telemedicine guidelines came recently, and they are very apt in the time that we are today. Even if you look at curve being getting flattened, and the number of cases falling or reducing to zero, let's just say by June and July, the social distancing norms or the cautions that you need to take will continue for the next 2 or 3 quarters. And I'm talking from the examples where China or Germany already at the fag end of the curve are visualizing this. So clinic is not designed or capitalized in a way that social distancing norm or that idle capacity can be adjusted of the patients coming to the platform. So a primary consultation might continue from the clinic, where emergency case might continue from a clinic, but a doctor will prefer that a follow-up or something can happen over a call. For patient specifically, the instance of he being vulnerable to infectious place will limit him to do or use technology more for doing those consultations. So that is one of the big change that I feel will happen. And similarly, for different aspects that you look at in this healthcare space, that those changes will happen. The previous norm fundamental that used to be people, try and identify a problem that can be solved by people, then put in and define process and reduce the dependency on people, and then bring efficiency by the use of technology. I think with this situation, everything now will be looked at from the lens of how technology can solve it. There is a part of business continuity plan which can work more efficiently if you're depending on technology and not the other traditional medium that we are on. This is the fundamental shift which will happen across sectors, and especially healthcare. So telemedicine is one where I see there is going to be a significant shift, and that significant shift will have a very strong ripple effect across the value chain that it creates. The more digitized or a digital prescription getting created, it is bringing more HCP and a patient to a digital platform. The more that happens, the more e-commerce on pharmacy diagnostics get enabled. The more that get enabled, the visibility on patient health, the longevity and longitudinal access to understanding a patient health journey, and the data it generates to help design and implement AI-driven models will become much more efficient. So we are looking at a very small step that will happen, but we need to realize the ripple effect it will have over the continuous value chain that it creates. Now, with this, there will be shift in consolidation at the distributor level for supply side as well. And with supply side, we'll also have more adoption of technology, because today the challenge faces the inventory is there. The inventory is broken and available into multiple distributor retailer, but the visibility of what quantity, what size is not there. So again, these are some of the things where it looks like a very small point in the value chain on the adoption of technology, but it has a far-reaching implement across the chain that we look at. So that's where I see healthcare moving towards a much more efficient system where use of technology would have. If you look at in the last 2 weeks, almost 20-25 odd platforms have jumped in and providing these teleconsultation services. And it is fundamentally changing the behavior of a doctor, which has been something not been changed over a long time. When it comes to serviceability, I think more and more condition management programs will come for management of chronic condition from the consumer, and it will again be all driven by technology, reducing the dependency on menial tasks which can be taken care by technology itself. That's some of the things that I feel will happen in healthcare in near term.
Thanks, Vikas. It's always been fantastic talking to you, and thanks so much for your time. We sincerely wish you and 1MG all the best, and you guys hopefully continue with the growth trajectory you guys have been on. And stay safe. Wish all the best and all the health to you, your friends, colleagues, family, everyone. So thank you so much.